TIFU by describing a prostate exam in graphic detail to an 8-year-old. Just before Christmas, I had a sonogram which revealed that I had an enlarged prostate. And 3 weeks later, last week, I finally had my follow-up appointment, delayed due to the impact of COVID on the NHS. So I go in, and in time-honored fashion, I lie in my side, lift my knees to my chest, and breathe deeply as the finger goes in. Let's put it this way. The guy wasn't gentle. In fact, I now know how a can of Pringles feels when you're trying to get the last one out. Anyway, appointment over. I drive, gingerly, off to pick my kid up from school, trying to take the route with the least speed bumps. Waiting at the gates when I get there is one of the other dads who I get on with really well. And it appears that my kid had told his kid that I had an appointment and that it was something to do with my wee problem. The guy had pretty much sussed it, and he asked conversationally how it went. I asked him if he really wanted to know, and he said he did because he was thinking about getting himself checked out. Or at least his wife was bugging him about it. So I give him the blow by blow. I tell him how the finger goes in, roots around, pops back out, all the while using as much descriptive language as possible, like. My eyes rolled back so far, I could actually see my own thoughts, and, if he'd gone any deeper, he'd have been able to give me a dental exam at the same time. Once I finished telling the guy all about it, which he was perfectly happy with, I'd told him to stop me if it got too graphic. There was a bit of a pause while he took the information in. During the pause, I hear a noise behind me. The sound of a giggle. The giggle of a young girl. I turn around, and one of my kid's classmates is standing there staring at me and chuckling away, while her mother stands just behind her with a look of absolute disgust on her face. I ask them how long they'd been there and the little girl says, ages. Her mom says that she'd just caught up and caught the last part of what I was saying, and that I shouldn't be having those kind of conversations outside a primary school. There's an awkward moment where I'm, uncharacteristically, at a loss for words. But it turns out I don't need to say anything as this bright little girl pipes up with, "It's okay. Bums need doctors too." Now I can't help but burst out laughing, as does the other dad, but the girl's mum goes beetroot and yells at me that I'm disgusting before dragging her daughter away, still chuckling like a deranged pixie. The other dad is bent double, gasping for breath, and we're getting some very funny looks from the other parents, when my kid finally rocks up and cones out with an absolute howler. "How's your prostitute, Dad?" he says. This pretty much finishes me off, and I'm crying all the way back home. Turns out that the mom has actually made a complaint about me, because my kid's teacher, very calmly and professionally, asked me today if I wouldn't mind being a bit more careful about my language. It also turns out that the little girl has been telling everyone in her class what happens when men go to the doctors, and all of the boys are now completely terrified. TLDR, I told someone about my prostate X and was overheard by an 8-year-old girl, and she's used the details to scare the life out of her classmates. It's a medical procedure, come on. That little girl is going to be in for a surprise when she starts seeing a gynecologist because mom is too afraid of telling their kids how medical procedures work. Some days it's bad to have a vivid imagination. Today is one of those days, and now I'll think of you every time I eat Pringles. Okay, I would see this half as a fuck up and half not, because that shit is funny as fuck. Isn't listening into someone's private conversation worse than you discussing a fairly routine, if uncomfortable, medical procedure? Honestly, that little girl is more wise than her mother, it seems. That is some wise shit to say right there, with a proper lack of care. And the fact she's now using it to terrorize the boys just takes the cake. People really should be stuck up less. If you don't watch Letterkenny, you should. There's a whole episode dedicated to prostate exams in season 10. Also, this is hilarious. As if the moms don't talk about women's problems. This made my day. Thank you, sir. No big deal. Just a fact of life. OMG, this has to be one of the best TIFUs I've read. The prostitute part was definitely the icing on the cake. LMAO. LMAO, if she bothered to watch her kid, it wouldn't have happened. Well, they've done it. Redditors have managed to accidentally describe a prostate exam to a child. This just made me cackle at work. Lol, well done. I regret that I can't give you more updates. I've been thinking of making a new window decal for my car. Deranged Pixie sounds awesome. If it's any consolation. And I know it probably isn't. Similar exams aren't that much fun for women either. Especially when the physician isn't gentle. That mum is asking for it. NGL. Thank you so much. You made me laugh out loud. I think you made my day. I sincerely hope your bum feels better by now. If the mom didn't want her to hear the story, she could have taken the child a few steps away. And yeah, eavesdropping is bad manners. Aw man, I feel for you. When I had my prostate exam, the doctor was asking me question. And all the while, since I knew where we were getting at, I couldn't help staring at his fingers. I mean, that guy had these huge carpenter's hands, and I was like, please don't tell me you're going to shove those up my ass. Anyway, he did. And afterwards I was so shocked that I had to pull a sickie and spend the rest of the day on the sofa watching TV and think of something else. Just so you know, the reason why I went to the doctor was that it hurt down there. And after the exam, all he told me was that my jeans were too tight. Wearing loose trousers fixed it. So don't do like me. To your ass being pillaged, just avoid skinny jeans. Great story. I do feel bad for that Karen's daughter though. She's in for a rough ride when she hits puberty. And her mother ends up being more useless than a three-legged elephant in a desert.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.